This video is about configuring BGP version 4 in Commando Marshall C3500 series routing switch. So, Border Gateway Protocol BGP is an inter-autonomous system routing protocol. The primary function of BGP speaking system is to exchange network reachability information with other BGP system. This network reachability information include information on the list of autonomous system that reachability information traverse. This information is sufficient for constructing a graph of AS connectivity for this reachability from which the routing loops may be spun, and at AS level same policy decisions may be enforced. So how to configure a BGP? I have connected the BGP speaking router to this Commando C3500 routing switch at port number 9. So I will show you show run. This port number 9, I have connected a BGP speaking router and I have given this port IP address 1.2 and VLAN 1, the IP address 192.168.0.1. I am having this minimal configuration in my Commando switch. I will start configuring a BGP. Right now there is no route in the routing table. I can verify it with the show IP route command. So I will start with the autonomous system for this switch as 65,200 and other autonomous system on the top brand router is 65,100. So configure terminal, and I am configuring a eBGP on this top brand router and Commando router. So they are very compatible and I want to show the configuration for that. So configure terminal, then router BGP 65200, then BGP router ID. Let us say I want to have the router ID 1.1.1.2. Then neighbor 192.168.1.1 and remote AS 65100, the other top brand router AS number. Then neighbor 192.168.1.1, and this Commando routing switch is having AS number 2 bytes also, support AS number 4 bytes also. So if the top brand router don't have that capability of 4 byte AS number, we have to give this command called as don't capability negotiate. Then after doing this, address family IPv4. I can have various address families like IPv4, IPv6, VPN v4, VPN v6. I will choose IPv4 for this configuration, and in that I have to give the command network 192 own network 168.0.0/24 and other network 192.168.1.0/24, and this way you can see the routes are learned with the BGP eBGP. This is a eBGP route which is learned with that top brand router. I will show that router also by telnetting to that router. Telnet 1.1, so that router password I have kept for that router Commando, and show IP route for that router. You can see the static route is there. I will remove that static route. No IP route in that router, so that BGP routes will be shown. Then 255.255.255.0 and then 192.168.1.2, and one more is there that default route, that also I will remove, so that to show you the other side top brand router. So I will remove this route also, 192.168.1.2. So now show IP route will show the BGP learn route of other router. So this is a BGP learn route. I will also remove this route if required. IP route 0.0.0.0 0.0.0.0 and 192.168.100.1. So show IP route in top brand router, and 1 minute, I will remove that. No, in top brand router. So this way you can see the other router also. This is a top brand router. So you can see show run of this top brand router, and this is the way I have configured here. And similarly in commando switch, it's very easily configurable thing. So this is a commando switch, and this is a learn route via commando switch. So this way we have to do it. Next, you can see that BGP version 4 provides sets of mechanism for supporting classless interdomain routing (CIDR). This mechanism include support for advertising a set of destination as a IP prefix and eliminating the concept of class within BGP. BGP version 4 also introduces mechanism that allows aggregation of route, including aggregation of AS path. A route is defined as a unit of information that pairs a set of destination with the attributes of the path to other destination. The set of destination are systems whose IP address are contained in one IP address prefix that is carried in the network layer reachability information field of an update message, and the path is the information reported in the path attribute field of the same update message. BGP is called as internal BGP when it runs within an autonomous system, and external BGP when it runs between the autonomous system. So I will show you, show BGP neighbor, show IP BGP neighbor. So it will show the neighbor information. So this is our neighbor top brand router with remote AS this, and 2 byte capability of AS number only. So we have to negotiate the don't negotiate capability command is used to make it negotiable. This BGP messages are of 5 types: open, update, notification, keep alive. So open message, after TCP connection is established, it initiates a setup of BGP adjacency. Update message used to transfer the routing information between BGP peer. Keep alive exchange between the BGP peers to determine if those peers are reachable. Notification message sent when an error condition is detected. The BGP connection will be closed. Routes are advertised between BGP speaker in the update message. Multiple routes that have the same attribute can be advertised in the single update message by including multiple prefixes in NLRI field of update message. So there are a lot of path attributes which will determine how the routes are calculated in the BGP speaking router. So path attribute represent the attribute values that are interpreted according to the attribute flags and attribute type. network layer reachability information. This variable length field contains the list of IP address prefixes that supported attribute types code, and the attribute values are used like origin, AS path, next hop, multi-exit discriminator, local preference, atomic aggregator, and many more. And BGP speaking switches of the router will go through 6 stages like ideal, connect, active, open send, and open confirm, and establish for making a BGP protocol run or process the BGP messages. So I will show you some basic commands that will for IPv4 or VPN-v4 address family modes. So this can be used. So we can have many commands for BGP, and I am going to show the few of those. So let us say I want to have router BGP 100, router BGP 65. I am already running this 65, and I want to have the address family. I can have this address family IPv4, IPv6 as per my choice. So you will have this option always. We can also aggregate the address and set the summary only. So aggregate address command to configure a BGP aggregate entities, and aggregates are used to minimize the size of routing table. So I can have this aggregate address. Let us say I want to have aggregate address 192.168.0.0/22 and AS set summary only. So this way I can have an aggregate attribute. BGP always compare MED command to compare the multi-exit discriminator MED for path from neighbor in different autonomous system. Multi-exit discriminator MED is used in the best path selection by BGP. MED is compared after BGP attribute weight, local preferences, AS path, and origin, which has been compared and are equal. Then MED comparison is done only among the path that are having same autonomous system. Use BGP always compare MED command. So I will exit the address family and BGP always compare MED value. I can have that. So the BGP best this MED can be always taken into consideration. BGP based AS path ignore command to prevent the router from considering an AS path as a factor in an algorithm for choosing a route. So BGP best path AS path ignore. So this way we can do that. We can also use the BGP best path compare configuration as a AS path. So this command allows comparing of the configuration AS path length. BGP receive the route with the identical eBGP path from the eBGP peer and select the first route received as a best path. Then we can also have the best path compare router ID. So we can have this compare router ID. So for this command is to compare router ID for identical eBGP path. BGP receives a route with the identical eBGP path from the eBGP peer and select the first route received as a best path. When comparing similar route from the peer, the BGP router does not consider router ID of the routes. By default, it selects the first received route. Then you can have the best path as MED missing as a worst. So this is used to specify two MED attribute configurations and missing AS worst. The config attribute enables the MED comparison among the path learned from the configuration peers. The MED are compared only if there is no external autonomous system in the path. If there are an external autonomous system in the path, MED comparison is not made. So after this we can see that we can have the cluster ID also. So I can have the BGP cluster ID, and we can set the any of the IP address or the number 32-bit quantity as a cluster ID, and this BGP cluster has been used to include the route reflector and its client. Usually each cluster is identify the router ID of its single route reflector, but to increase the redundancy, sometimes the cluster may have more than one route reflector. All the route reflectors in each cluster are then identify the cluster ID. The BGP cluster ID command is used to configure 4-byte cluster ID for cluster with more than one route reflector. So I can have this cluster, let us say 10.10.10.10. We can also have the BGP configuration identifier to specify the BGP configuration identifier number. So BGP configuration identifier, let us say 1. We can also have the peer for these configurations. So peer, let us say 1234 and 21345. So we can have this. We can also use the dampening command to minimize the instability caused by the route flapping. So we can use that BGP dampening, and we can give the value, or we can directly enter. So this will a penalty is added to every flap in the route flapping route. As soon as total penalty reaches the surpass limit, the advertisement of the route is surpassed. The penalty decaying according to the configured half value time. Once the penalty is lower than the reuse limit, the route advertisement is unsuppressed. The dampening information is purged from the router once the penalty becomes less than half of the reuse limit. So you can have this command, route dampening. Let us say I want to have the value 20. Start reusing the route after, let us say 25, and then value to start suppressing the route, let us say 300, and then maximum duration of suppress a stable route, say 1000, and then unreachability half-life period for the penalty, let us say 25. So this way we can have this configuration. We can also set the BGP defaults and activate IPv4 unicast for the peer default. So very straightforward command, BGP default IPv4 unicast. We can also have default values like local preferences and all. So we can have these local preferences, and we can set this local preference value. So this way we can configure the local preferences. By default, local preference command to change the default local preference value, which is 100. Local preference indicate the preferred path when there are multiple paths to the same destination. The path having a higher precedence is configured. We can also set the deterministic MED, and this deterministic MED or multi-exit discriminator variable when choosing among route advertised by the different peer in the same autonomous system. So MED is used in the best path selection by the BGP, and this is compared after BGP attribute weight, local preferences, AS path and origin have been compared and are equal. We can enable this BGP deterministic MED. And just by giving the commands. We can also have the BGP reset session immediately if the interface which is used BGP connection goes down. So for that we can have this command BGP fast external failover. So this will help us. We can have the log neighbor changes. So this is a very important command, BGP log neighbor changes. So BGP up down information will be coming via this. We can also have the scan time. So this command is to set the interval for the BGP route next of scanning. This interval is the period after which the router checks the validity of the routes in its database. So BGP scan time, let us say I want to have this scan time 10. There are two kinds of BGP reset. Hard reset will clear the BGP peer, and soft reset will only refresh the routing table. So clear IP BGP star, clear the all BGP process. So this will clear all the BGP processes. We can also set the distance to define the administrative distance. By default, this is the administrative distance. We can set according to our value. So distance is the rating of the trustworthiness of the route learned by the router. So the higher the distance, the lower is the trust rating. The administrative distance can be set of external, internal, local route. External path are the route learned from the neighbors out of AS. The internal route are the route learned from the another router within the same AS. Local routes are for the router that are being redistributed from another process. If the administrative distance is changed, it could create the inconsistency in the routing table and obstruct the routing table. So if I use this command, I will show you, it will create some problems. So config T router BGP 65200, and we can have this distance command, and I can set the administrative distance. Let us say I want to have 80, and then for the network 192.168.100.0/24. So show IP route. If it is inconsistent, it will not be accepted by BGP unless we restart that process. IP AS path access list command to define the access list in the BGP process. We can have the name community list is a filter based on the regular expression. If the regular expression receives the matches the specified string representing the AS path of the route, then the permit or deny condition apply. So we can have this access list configured. So for that, configure terminal router BGP 65200, and we can have this command IP AS path not in this process. We will have in normal process IP AS path access list, and we have to create an access list. Let us say any of the list, my list, deny, and we can deny whatever we like to have. Let us say 65200. So this way we can create the access list. We can also have the community list by the same process, like AS path list. We can have the community list. Community list, IP community list, and then 20, let us say 20, permit, deny or permit, whatever we like to deny or permit. We can also use the neighbor activate command to enable the exchange of specified AF routes with the neighboring router. So for that, router BGP 65200, and we can have this neighbor, let us say 192.168.1.1 activate. So this way we can go use this command in address family also. We can also set up the advertisement interval to set the minimum interval between sending the BGP routing update. Use this command to set the minimal interval between sending BGP routing update. To reduce the flapping of the route to the internet or the internal network, a minimum advertisement interval is set, so that the BGP routing update are sent only per interval second as per our choice. BGP dampening can also be used to control the effects of flapping routes. For the originated BGP route, they would send out when the AS origination interval and the advertisement interval expire at the same time. So we can set this by giving the command neighbor, let us say 192.168.1.1 advertise interval, and I want to have this 20 second. We can also have the allow ins command to configure PE router to allow the re-advertisement of all prefix containing duplicate autonomous system numbers. So for that I have to go to the address family, IPv4, and if I am having the VRF, let us say commando, so I have to create a VRF, and then I can have this neighbor in that address family to allow in. We can also use the neighbor attribute unchange command. So neighbor 192.168.1.1 and attribute unchange AS path MED or next or whatever we like to have. We can also neighbor capability dynamic command to enable the dynamic capability for the specific peer. So this command allows the BGP speaker to advertise or withdraw an address family capability to a peer in a non-disruptive manner. So we can have this neighbor command, let us say 192.168.1.1 and capability dynamic. We can also have the prefix list, route refresh, and a lot of eBGP multi-hop command. So eBGP multi-hop is a very important command to accept and attain the BGP connection to external peer on indirectly connected network. Multi-hop is not established if only the route to the multi-hop peer is a default route. This avoids the loop formation. So we can have this neighbor 192.168.1.1 eBGP multi-hop, and we can set the hop value, or we can have this, let us say 2. We can have the filter list, we can have some warnings, next of self command, override capability, passive neighbor, peer groups. There are n number of commands that are available in this router, which is very difficult to configure in a single session. So I will wind this video to this. This router is having so much of capability that no other top brand router provide in a IL license way. So this is the best router with BGP capability available in the market. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.